Gary Gensler better watch out, because he was the one that was working with SBF, trying to cater to FTX, making it more favorable for them to operate. There's also some bad news today. There's a lot of FUD about Binance. Okay, as the withdrawals top 500 million, I heard the latest report, it's like 2 billion, right? Does seem like there's a mini bank run happening on Binance. Some of it due to that Reuters report, how Binance may be investigated by the US authorities, right? Some of it is just people spreading FUD on Twitter. Some people are just being cautious and taking their crypto out because they just want to self-custody their own crypto. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So there's a little bit of that going on. But CZ is staying strong, says FUD helps us grow, even though they are thoroughly annoying. You can FUD about someone and blah. Okay, he's just basically saying, like, you know what? We've seen a lot of FUD over the years, especially 5 years ago when they were introduced, and then 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you know, up until today, right? FUD is part of Binance, and we're okay with that. We will continue forward. Basically, I don't know what else you could say. There's some question whether or not they have enough USDC. He answered this because there needs to be a swap that happens through a bank, right? When a bank opens, they'll do it. There's one-to-one conversions, no margin, no leverage involved, right? So there you go. But before, he already said he wanted to convert everything to BUSD on Binance. So that's the reason why also probably lower liquidity of USDC and USDT, because he himself has been converting everything to BUSD. So there's that. So there is some FUD still around Binance, okay? And whether you trust CZ or Binance or not, it's irrelevant, okay? If you don't trust them, take your money out, put it into a self-custody wallet. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if CZ is the most trustworthy guy in the space, which I believe he's among the top, but even that, right? It's never too late to safeguard your own crypto. Learn how to use a Ledger or Treasure or Trust Wallet or Arculus Wallet or whatever else wallet, SafePal, right? Learn how to use them. Self-custody some of your crypto, if not all of your crypto, right? Then you don't have to worry about anything. But as for centralized exchanges, I think the two that can be trusted and will be fine is Binance and Coinbase. These two, I just don't see anything happening to them. So even though there may be a mini bank run, Binance has over 60 billion in assets. So I think they're still doing just fine. But in case you don't trust it, go ahead and self-custody your own crypto. Nothing wrong with that move whatsoever. And it gives you opportunity to learn too. All right, outside of this, speaking of Coinbase, despite this horrible year, they added 19 million users. And that's during a horrible, horrible year for Bitcoin and crypto. They did recently announce that they were going to lose like 50% of their revenue for this year versus 2021. But still, despite that, they added 19 million verified users. And I don't know how much Binance added or anyone else, right? But it just shows you there's still people that's coming into this space. It's not like everyone left. There's still a lot of people learning and figuring things out and really wanting to opt out of everything that they have gone through this year with inflation, with just crazy prices, you know, and opting out of what the feds, you know, or central banks around the world are doing. So, good overall. What else is there? Raul Paul wants to remind people that out of 10 years, there's up and downs for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not the best performing assets out of the last 10 years. In fact, many years, it's actually the worst. And you can include 2022 in there, right? But if you go back 10 years, nothing has come close to outperforming Bitcoin, right? Big part of that is the scarcity factor that I just mentioned at the beginning. So keep that in mind. Even though we may have down years, and it seems absolutely brutal, but those that survive, they get stronger, their conviction becomes stronger. Their faith in Bitcoin becomes stronger, and overall they're rewarded for it simply by holding. It's really that simple. Now, of course, you guys also know that SBF, I covered this last night. SBF was arrested, right? Facing charges, waiting to be extradited, but the SEC also formally charges SBF. Gary Gensler himself finally taking some action against FTX and SBF, claiming that he took customers' funds, knowingly commingled customers' funds, according to him, and then used those funds for self-interest. For example, undisclosed venture investments, lavish real estate purchases, large political donations. Interesting, right? So he is formally charging him. So I don't know who's actually going to end up, I don't even know how it works in the courts. If you have multiple agencies going after him, who actually wins? Like which one takes first priority? I don't know. The SEC or U.S. Justice Department? Don't know, but everyone's going after him. But what's also interesting is this, and this makes the Bahamas look really bad. The new FTX CEO has come out and said that the Bahamas, whoever in the Bahamas, the authorities in Bahamas, asked SBF to mint a new coin, a completely new coin, and they wanted to take control of it. In fact, they didn't just ask, they tried to give access back to SBF. So the new CEO actually said they witnessed someone trying to hack into FTX servers. They actually saw that new coins were minted, and they stopped it, right? And supposedly this is the Bahamian authorities asking SBF to do so, right? So if this is true, there's something really wrong. There's something really wrong going on in the Bahamas, right? So yeah, there's something there. So recently, of course, yesterday, they released it. Whoever released that letter saying that, yeah, we'll comply, we'll extradite, SBF, we'll comply with any, with the U.S. regulators and whatever they want, right? It's probably because they know a lot of this stuff is not going to look good for them. So they're trying to be as nice as possible right now. But this is just absolutely wild. I don't know why they would ask him to mint a new coin, and I don't know why they think that would be a good idea, right? I have no idea. Federal prosecutor in South District of New York unsealed charges against disgraced FTX co-founder, charging him with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, security fraud, standalone charges of security fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and significantly conspiracy to defraud the United States and campaign finance regulators. Ooh, that's new. Ooh. Because yesterday it was just like security fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit it. But now they're adding in conspiracy to defraud the United States and campaign finance regulations. Wow. You know what? Gary Gensler better watch out, because he was the one that was working with SBF, trying to get in the good graces of CFTC and trying to cater to FTX, coming out with better, bypassing certain steps, making it more favorable for them to operate. So this is looking at this. Then this is also looking at all the money, where it went, including some of the political donations and who received, and it's all coming out. It's all coming out. Gary Gensler, better watch out. What else is going on today? Well, there's a few other stuff. Before I get to the few other stuff, I did want to remind you guys, as for Bitcoin, right? Some people don't quite understand the difference between Bitcoin and stocks, right? A lot of people are just buying Bitcoin as almost as a tech stock. It goes up and down. People don't quite understand, right? So I haven't shown this in a while, and I decided to pull it up today. And it's kind of shocking because within a very short amount of time, most people don't realize that Bitcoin has a set supply, right? 21 million. It's not completely out yet, but out of the number that we have right now that's circulating, 19 million, right? People don't realize that about 3 to 4 million are already lost. So there's not actually 19 million floating around. It's more like 14 or 15. But even if you don't take that into account, the big boys, right, already bought close to 8% of the entire supply. Keep in mind, this is out of 21 million, okay? There's not even 21 million out there yet. It's 19 million. So this is actually a higher percentage. It's more closer to 10%. And if you take into account how much is lost, well, this number goes up even more, probably up to like 15%. And this is just recording the 65 entities, including a lot of the Bitcoin bulls, the companies, the funds, some countries, right? This is just including 65 entities that we know of, that has publicly disclosed how much they hold. Imagine how many have not disclosed, right? There's so many that has not disclosed how much they're holding, and they could have been holding for years or longer, a decade, right? Or the BlackRocks of the world that jumped in, they're not disclosing how much they have, right? But just the ones that have disclosed already hold about 15%, I would say, of the entire supply. That's why Bitcoin is going up to the moon eventually, because there's just not enough to go around. It's so scarce. It's not like tech stock. Stock could be split. There could always be more that's issued. Bitcoin, unlike anything else, has a set supply, and it's only getting more scarce with each halving event and with more people buying in, right? So you have the likes of MicroStrategy. We all know Michael Saylor, and then Galaxy Digital, Voyager. I don't know what's going to happen with Voyagers. To be honest, they still hold $219 million worth of Bitcoin, but still they hold it. You have Coinbase, Tesla, you got Block, you got all the big boys, right? But then you go to countries. Even China holds 194,000 Bitcoins. I think they confiscated it. I don't know where that came from. The U.S. government also confiscated a ton of Bitcoin, so that doesn't even show in there. And then you have Mt. Gox, which still holds a ton. Block One, Tezos, and then Mass Mutual. And then you have, of course, the big funds like Grayscale and Purpose, Bitcoin ETM, all this stuff, right? So, I mean, just looking at this is just 65 entities. That's it. Just 65 entities somehow controlling so much already. And think about how much is not disclosed and being held. So really, it's just, this back and forth on the exchanges, right? It's really just a very small amount. And most people don't realize that. So I didn't want to start off with that. And also with some other good stuff about Bitcoin, the current drawdown, where we are right now, right? There's a lot of charts like this indicating, good buying opportunity. We're towards the bottom, if not already there, and we are itching to climb higher, right? So today could be the start of that. Who knows where Bitcoin will end up by the end of the year? Fingers crossed, maybe we get a good push back to 2021K in the near future, and after that, we push towards 30K. If the whole FTX thing didn't happen, we'd probably be at 30K, if not higher already. So, looking forward to the next 2 weeks of this year. Now, other things that's happening, Hong Kong is listing. There's a company that's going to be listing Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. That's good. It's going to bring more money into the space, especially if FOMO builds, right, for the remaining 2 weeks. That'll be good. But going forward, again, the scarcity factor plays in because each one of these fund providers has to buy Bitcoin in order to fulfill the shares that they're selling, right? So the more buying that happens, the better it is overall. Simple as that. All right. Outside of that, Moonpay receives regulatory approval in the UK, so that's good. That's good overall, right? As crypto adoption increases, it's only good for everyone. So there's that. Let's see what the U.S. market. Oh wow, it actually went down. I thought it was go plus 800. Now it's only plus 400, but you know we'll take that. We'll take that. The U.S. indicts SBF on conspiracy to defraud the U.S. This is measuring November, and we had one in November measuring October. October was the first glimpse at inflation tapering and slowing down, coming in lower than expected. We also had a PCE reading, which is similar, that came out a few weeks ago that also indicated the same thing. But now we have more confirmation. So that's month to month now, showing that inflation in the U.S. is definitely being slowed down and even coming down. If you're looking at the overall inflation, the CPI number is now down to 7.1%. It was 7.8% last month, okay, in October. So that's a steep drop. And estimates were predicting that CPI would drop to 7.3%. So we came in better, 0.2% lower. Also, as for core inflation, okay, core inflation did still rise, but still less than expected. Core inflation was supposed to come in at 0.3%. We came in at 0.2%. And that's fantastic as well. So if you're looking at core inflation year over year, it's about 6% versus the 7.1%, right? So these are all fantastic stuff. Yes, inflation is still high. Yes, we're still way higher than a few years ago. But what this means is the crazy rise that we have seen this year is finally seeming like it's finding a top and reversing, right? So this is what is driving markets up today, okay? And what will probably continue to drive markets up starting tomorrow is we have a big FOMC meeting that's going to, it actually starts today and concludes tomorrow. And then we're going to have that big news conference, the one I have participated with you guys for much of this year. It's coming in at 1:30, 1:30 Central Standard Time, 2:30 Eastern Time, right? And everyone is waiting to see what Powell says. Now, he has hinted that he wants to slow things down. He does not want to keep raising rates because what that's going to do is it may be overreaching, okay? Slowing rates slows down economy, as has already happened. A lot of our economic data has shown that the economy has softened, right? But what he's waiting for is month-to-month slowness of inflation, and that's exactly what he's getting, right? So it's basically priced in tomorrow. There's an 80% chance that the rate hike announced tomorrow, well, now it's jumped to 84%. You could see it jumped almost 5% within a matter of a few minutes. So it's almost guaranteed tomorrow he will say that the rate hike will be 50 basis points rather than 75 basis points. And more than likely, he's going to announce that further meetings down the road can see even more cuts on rate hikes, meaning that the next one, I believe in January, could be maybe even a 25 basis point hike, right? And then the one after that becomes zero. And then maybe second half 2023, they actually pivot and start cutting, right? Tomorrow will be a big day for sure. And everyone's going to be looking at what Powell is saying and hinting, right? Those reporters, they're getting better. They're getting better at their questions, right? And Powell was very uncomfortable with questions after the last meeting. Let's see how he does tomorrow, okay? So, yeah, I do believe that this will carry us well into 2023, right? Starting today, we're going to see a good rally. We're going to see it continue tomorrow, continue into Christmas and the end of the year and possibly continue into 2023. So this is why things are soaring today, right? Very, very good. Very good indeed. Now,